Hey, I'm back. Um, Looked at my last video and I forgot to follow up on some of the law enforcement issues that I wanted to discuss. So, really briefly, I wanted to talk about how the police love to stop you when you're driving, license, registration, insurance, how they love to search your car, how they love to get you out of the car, how they love to find paraphernalia on you, whether or not it's really there or not. They can easily plant it. And again, not every policeman is like this, but unfortunately, there's a lot of them that are. And it's sad because I think we've come to a crossroads where with these body cams, they are so paranoid about what's going to be released on these body cams that they will do anything to monitor them, delete them, shut them off, do whatever they can so that what they're doing when they have a potential suspect in custody or are trying to get somebody in custody, uh, you know, the gloves come off and they try to do whatever they can. So, dirty little secret. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of that, but that's just the beginning. Then you get taken to the police station. They've read you your rights, but then again, they want to be your friend because, hey, talk to us, tell us about this because we want to help. We want to help you get out of this and, minimize it and make it easy for everybody. Because in the end, when you spill your guts, and again, I'm not a judge, a jury, an executioner, and, I've got my own issues with certain people that commit certain crimes. But you have to understand that the police have really rudimentary skills that, they're not the brightest bulbs on the tree. And you'd be surprised the information they get when they get a suspect or a person of interest into the interrogation or the interview room and they start to be your friend. Can we get you a soda? Can we get you a burger? You know what you can do with your burger. But this is how they stack the deck against you. They want to create an atmosphere of, they're your friend. They're here to help you. And the way that they help you is by developing rapport. And as they develop that rapport, they're going to be able to extract the information that they're looking for that will essentially be your demise. Because everything that you say is being recorded, is being written down, and is only going to be used for one purpose and one purpose only. And that is to do you in. They're not there to help you. I promise. That's the last thing they want to do. And they have their reasons for it. They want to close the case. They want to get promoted. They want to look good in front of their superiors. All kinds of reasons why. But, in the end, back in the day when I was a cop, we didn't do that. I mean, we pretty much, there was a saying that we used to use, get them dirty or don't get them at all. And what that meant was, if a person did something wrong, then, you got them dirty. But don't create something. Don't manipulate something. Don't, try to get somebody to say something that they didn't do because they've been in a interview room for 8 hours. Excuse me, that's just not okay. It's not cool. And that's what they do. And they do it more frequently than not. And they do it with one singular task at hand, and that is to develop a case against you that they can give to the district attorney or the attorney general, depending upon what state you live in. And then they're going to bury a 34-inch aluminum baseball bat as far up your rectal cavity as it will go. So unless you want to go around tasting aluminum for quite a long time, why do you think that when they had cops, remember that show, Bad Boys, and guys would be running all over the place when, they get stopped for something stupid? They don't want to go back to jail. And I can't say that I blame them, because they probably got, hemmed up in something that was stupid. And then, all of a sudden the judge knows them. And now they're going to add more numbers to their sentence. And eventually they're going to be facing a situation where they're going to be doing a long period of time behind bars. And it's these cops that just, they literally today, they look like military. They drive around mostly in black cars, and when I was growing up, white was the good guy, black was the bad guy. So they're driving around in black cars wearing these Kevlar vests that have banana clips for their automatic weapons, and then they have standard clips for their pistols, and then they have, most of them will have the tasers, and then they have their mace, and then they have their handcuffs, and then they have their flex cuffs, and what other little toys, knives, and what have you. I mean, essentially they could, probably take over a small country if they wanted to, a big enough police department. So why do they need all that? Like, really? What about community policing and talking to the youths and trying to, establish a rapport so that these things don't happen, instead of just right off the rip, they're trying to, get people for crimes that either they didn't commit, or they want to bump them up from misdemeanors to felonies that are several counts long. And you're definitely doing, some time for that. And, as the old adage goes, you're probably doing football numbers at that, kind of crossroads. So my advice, like most attorneys would say, is I want to talk to a lawyer. The end. I wouldn't say another word to these guys, because anything you say can and will be used against you. And I mean, if you're with a decent cop, you can pretty much tell, but more times than not, his backup, his supervisor, his partner is going to be the diametrical opposite, which is going to be a scumbag who's looking to, hammer you for everything he can. And then the other cop is going to kind of take a step back, because he doesn't want to offend, the guys he's working with, because now, he'll get a bad reputation that, he's pro, felon or pro bad guy. And instead of trying to help somebody and give somebody a break, he's going to be ostracized for, just trying to be a decent human being. So I feel that in today's world, the WTF that I'm talking about today is quite simply, you just can't trust the cops. You can't. And as much as you want to, like, I'm all set. I can take care of myself. I don't need the police in my life. Stay away from me. I'll do my thing and follow the laws, as stupid as some of them may be. And there are a lot of stupid laws that go back to the old blue laws where, they could be 200 years old and they could throw it at you, let alone these new laws where, little by little, they're chipping away at your rights, your constitutional rights. They're taking away systematically, so that in a very short period of time, you're not going to have many rights. And the rights that you do have, you're going to have to, say, Mother May I, or, beg for them, because, The cops are going to be the enforcers, which they already are, and they're going to, really relish in that role. Because I remember the first thing that people would say to me is, you wouldn't be so tough without that gun and badge. The gun and badge do not make a police officer. What makes a good cop is the man inside the uniform. Just like, presidents, people argue all the time about Republican, Democrat, Independent, but is it the president or is it the country? Is it the office or is it the man? There hasn't been a woman elected yet. So is it the man? And, a lot of people don't like Trump. A lot of people hate Trump. I mean, I like him, but yeah, he's got some quirks about him, but he's a lot better than the alternative right now. That's for darn sure. And when he's gone, I shudder to think who's going to be next. And God forbid if it is one of these bleeding heart liberals that want bigger government so that they can tell us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. That's all they want is power and control. And then they can run the country the way they want to. And I'll ask you this question. I think a congressman right now makes in the ballpark of about $175,000 a year. How is that like a representative of us when the mean income is like what, 70 G's a year, and they're making close to 3 times that, double times, a half? It's just not okay. These people have no idea. They have been in Washington for so long. There has to be term limits on these people. They are, just not really fully functional when it comes to the world that we live in, the world that we work in, the world that we try to support our families in. And instead, they live in this fantasy land where they take planes wherever they want to go, usually private or military. They're paid tons of money. They've got all kinds of lobbyists on K Street in Washington, just giving them the money, saying, all we want you to do is to stand up for our product, for our service, for our, whatever they happen to be slinging at that particular time. And bam, there you go. Is that corruption? If it's not corruption, it's pretty darn close. So I'd like to, I don't want to get too deep right now. I don't have a whole lot of time, but again, I wanted to touch on the subject because I think it's really important. And, information as far as prisons, like, jails and prisons and what's the difference, what can happen to you, what do you need to know, God forbid, if you ever get caught hemmed up in a situation where you go to jail, whether it's for a week, a month, 2 years, whatever, or you go to state prison, what is the difference between a jail and a prison? A lot of people don't know that. And I will be happy to explain all of the fundamental differences between the two and what you have to look out for from the minute you walk through that door. And because you're going to stand in court and you're going to watch and you're going to see where the sheriffs circle around and they get behind the guy that's talking to the judge. And that's usually a signal 99 times out of 100 that the cuffs are going on and they're getting bussed out to either the local jail or the state prison. And unfortunately, they don't give you a how-to book when you get to jail on what to look for and what not to look for in terms of how to protect yourself. And, who's trying to, everybody's trying to scam somebody in jail or prison and what to look out for. like how to be careful, how to have eyes behind your head, who to talk to, who not to talk to. Those are really important things that could save you from a shank, from a beating, or God forbid, from even worse than that. So love your input, love anything that you have to say about, comments, what you'd like to know, what you'd like to hear. I can get it all and break it down into bite-sized morsels so that it's understandable, and you can kind of put it back in the filing cabinet and use it, God forbid, if that time ever comes. So anyway, time to get back to my regular gig. And in the meantime, best of all to everybody. And again, I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm open to anything, any suggestions, any comments, any criticisms. It's all good. I just want to, learn, and I want to be able to get my word out and try to help as many people as I can with the skill set that I have. So that being said, this will probably be the end for my day. Peace out, and look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.